the job of ushering back undergraduates, other people, graduate students, community members, and stakeholders in the Slifka Center back into the building, being able to celebrate this year together. Maayan has some words as well.
In our capacity as student presidents, we are extremely fortunate to be able to work closely with Uri Cohen, who's our executive director, and Rabbi Jason Rubenstein, who's the Howard M. Holtzman Jewish Chaplain at Yale. And these two leaders of ours have had 4 absolutely transformative years, one whole college cycle that they've been with us now, and they've transformed the community. Clearly, we can see the building that we're in tonight and the community itself. If Yale is about learning how to think, as President Salovey has suggested, then there could be no 2 better leaders than Uri and Rav Jason in that project. Uri's vision for Jewish institution and Rav Jason's leadership in creating a pluralistic community, inviting everybody in, giving them a place to sit at the table, and helping us make Slifka a central part of our lives here at Yale. I think that with the building reopening today, we're thinking about its central location on campus, and I think we could easily imagine that having easy access to kosher food, right, that could mean that your Jewish life doesn't have to preoccupy you here. You just come to this centrally located building, get your lunch, and that's it. But Uri and Rav Jason actually make sure by the leadership that they show here and throughout Yale, that Slifka is central to how we walk around Yale and think about our lives in these 4 years that we're here, and I'm sure beyond. So without further ado.
Good evening, welcome, and thank you, Maayan and Sam, for those words of introduction. My name is Jason Rubenstein. I have the joy and honor of serving this community as the Howard M. Holtzman Jewish Chaplain.
And I'm Uri Cohen, the Executive Director of Slifka, and we're so pleased to have everyone here tonight. As we get started, we have the real honor to introduce the 51st elected mayor of New Haven, the Honorable Justin Elicker. Who is himself a graduate of the Yale School of Management, and we're happy to have you here for some brief words.
And the Yale School of Forestry, that's no longer that. I love brief words. And when I was talking with Uri just a few minutes ago, he was like, how long are you speaking? And I said, oh, don't worry, only 5 minutes. And he's like, 2 minutes. So I gotta be fast. And I was handed these scissors in a bag, which I presume is for cutting the ribbon. Looks like some evidence of a crime, but I'm just so excited to be here with such a festive group celebrating the reopening of the Slifka Center. And I was just reflecting earlier today on this event tonight and thinking about just in general how proud I am of the New Haven community, because we face in our world, and I don't need to tell you all this, but just so much increasing anti-Semitism and increasing hate. And we come together as a community whenever anyone in our community is attacked. The Jewish community came out when there was attacks on Asian and Pacific Islanders around the nation, and we saw some attacks in New Haven, and participated in an event that we had across many different, with people across many different backgrounds and religions, and said, that is wrong, we stand together. When George Floyd was murdered, the Jewish community and so many other community members came out to call out and say that was wrong. When the attacks on the synagogue in Pittsburgh occurred, we all came out to say that is wrong. And I think that is something that we should be so proud of in New Haven, is that we reject hate in any manner that we ever see it. And this site is a refuge and has been for many years for the Jewish community. It is inspiration for the community, and not just the Yale affiliated community, but so many other individuals in the New Haven community. So to see this opening up again is exciting for so many of us, and we're grateful that you have always welcomed New Haven members into this community as well. Congratulations. And I have a proclamation I'm not going to read it because my 2 minutes are up.
Thank you, Mayor Elicker, for those words and for your presence. We stand before you tonight overcome by gratitude for the visionary work of those who founded the Slifka Center, some of whom are no longer with us. The work of their hands has endured beyond them, and their memories are very much with us tonight. Thinking of Sylvia and Joseph Slifka, Alan B. Slifka, who would have turned 93 today, Professor Donald Cohen, Amy Olland, and Joanna Rose. And thankfully, many of those funders are still alive and with us. And I want to acknowledge their presence. Phyllis Cohen Gladstein. We'll hold our applause to the end. It's a great group here. 2 minutes. Daniel Rose, Rabbi Jim and Ilana Ponette, Dr. Marcy Sternheim, Robin Golden, and David and Michelle Slifka. Let's hear it for them all. Each of these people and so many others laid the foundation upon which Uri and I and Mayan and Sam and all of us stand tonight. The building of Yale's Jewish community goes further back yet. This year marks the 60th anniversary of the Kosher Kitchen and the 81st of Yale Hillel. Today we are in the midst of the festival of Sukkot, the commemoration and reenactment of the Israelites' journey through the desert. Small booths and temporary huts have sprung up on the Pechter terrace directly above me and in Jewish backyards across the world. We create and inhabit these fragile shelters to remind ourselves of an eternal, elusive truth. Everything we build, no matter how solid, is vulnerable. Every place and every project is exposed to the forces of erosion and entropy. And so the work of building never ceases, but grows and matures into the unending work of rebuilding. This renovation has been one such project of rebuilding. Each relationship of friendship and love, each tradition of freedom and justice, each community of celebration and care, and yes, each building made of concrete and mortar requires our attention and our investment, our time and our energy, our sacrifice. Tonight, we are celebrating the collective work, all too often unsung, of rebuilding done right and done well. And we are doing something more. The rabbis of the Talmud taught that the very purpose of Jewish spaces like this one, which Mayor Elicker rightly called a refuge, is to instill in each person who passes through these doors faith in our ability to preserve and ultimately redeem the world against all the evidence of our frailty and smallness. Today, as faith in our collective capacity to preserve what we love faces new and daunting challenges, we take as our responsibility here at Slifka Center, building and rebuilding a Jewish community so creative, so kind, and so inspiring as to restore students' beliefs in themselves and in one another, to together withstand the forces of depredation, and for some of our students, to kindle that belief for the very first time. There is no more tangible or significant evidence for the truth of a belief in the possibility of turning back the tides of time, of restoring what could be, than this very rebuilding in the face of the vulnerability of time, in the project we celebrate tonight. And nothing could be a more perfect celebration of Sukkot. Before I yield the podium, a word of appreciation is order. The Sabbath liturgy includes a prayer on behalf of Ha'oskim b'tzorchei tzibor be'emunah, those who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the community. No community could ask for a more devoted, more faithful, or more focused advocate than we have in the man standing to my right. I have seen Uri up close for years devote himself to every facet of this project and the community to which it means everything, and want to take this moment in the most personal and public of ways on behalf of myself all of us gathered here and the entire Yale Jewish community, the Yale community and the New Haven community, to thank you for your faithful devotion, for the ways you've borne the heavy burden of this work and seen us through the many hardships to this moment of completion and celebration. Please join me in thanking Uri for doing absolutely everything that was needed month after month and year after year to bring us to this joyous day.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, Jason. That was really, really wonderful. Thank you. It is, it's been a labor of love for sure. We now turn our attention to some folks who have really made this project, the first major renovation in Slifka's 27-year history, possible. We've tried to thank many of them in the booklets on your chairs, and we could not possibly have successfully completed this project without each person who helped in ways large and small. Please hold your applause till the end. We want to thank our capital campaign chairs, Richard Pechter, Victoria Lindenbaum-Fetter, who's not able to be here tonight, and Elisa Spungen-Bildner and Rob Bildner. These leaders have worked tirelessly to follow every lead in an effort to raise as many dollars in support of this project as possible. They spent their time and their energy and generously directed their philanthropy to this project in a way that engaged hundreds of others, many of whom are in this room, to join them with gifts of all sizes. We could not have rebuilt this structure without you. And by the way, anyone who wishes to participate further, the recognition wall is still being finalized, and there are still naming opportunities. Dick, did I get that right? Okay, excellent, perfect, okay. My professional colleagues, Jennifer Rojan-Wallace and Herb Tobin, also deserve special thanks for the success of this campaign. No less central to this project have been our construction and design chairs, Doris Zielinski and Melanie Ginter. These two have come to the worksite every single week just about of the last 24 months to inspect details, solve problems, advise on strategies as to what to do next when challenges arose. And there were many challenges. They are still answering emails almost on a daily basis as we talk warranties, minute finishes, and other final details. Simply put, this project would never have gotten off the ground or to the finish line without them. And I personally, and we collectively, owe Doris and Melanie a debt of gratitude. Our tireless and visionary architect, Glenn Landau, the Babbage team, and my colleagues, Ziv Eisenberg and Alex DeLeon, also deserve special mention here. Now, can the folks I just named please rise, and let's have a round of applause. Some of them didn't rise, so if you see them afterwards, just spontaneous applause. Okay, perfect. All right. Slifka Center nurtures Jewish life at Yale, cultivating cultural, spiritual, religious, and intellectual experiences that enrich the lives of Yale students in a way that endures. The beautiful thing about this purpose is that it reaches far beyond the Jewish community. The booklets on your seats tell you more about who we are and what we're even doing here. As everyone knows, Yale University is a complex institution that is made up of many different schools, departments, and communities. Slifka Center, at its best, functions as a neural network of sorts, a connecting point, a gathering place, a physical and metaphorical nexus located at the crossroads of the campus. As such, we work with undergraduates, graduate students, postdocs, and their families. We work with and serve members of the faculty, the staff, and the administration. We sustain meaningful partnerships with residential colleges, cultural houses, the chaplain's office, including Yale Religious Ministries, the Yale College Dean's Office, and all of the graduate schools. We integrate regularly with Yale Hospitality, Public Safety, and the Office of Admissions. We engage regularly with all of Yale's key stakeholder groups: students, alumni, parents, faculty and staff, and the greater New Haven community. Most of if not all of these groups are represented here in this room tonight. And in the spirit of interconnectedness, we encourage you to do what our students do. Go introduce yourself to someone new during the dessert reception after the program. Our main message, if you'd come away with one thing tonight, it's this: wherever you are at Yale, whatever community you are working to build, Slifka Center is ready, willing, and able to support it, advancing your vision through the lens of ours. Tonight's event is truly both a celebration and an invitation to all to come, to reach out, and often. At this time, I want to invite our capital campaign co-chairs to share a couple of words. And while Victoria Linderbaum-Fetter was not able to be here tonight, please welcome Richard Pechter, Elise Spungen-Bildner, and Rob Bildner.
Thank you, Uri. I'm Rob Bildner, 72, and my wife, Elisa Spungen-Bildner, 75, are honored to be here. We're both founders of the Slifka Center, longtime members of the Board of Trustees, and co-chairs with Dick and Victoria of the Building Forward campaign for Slifka. I really am honored to welcome you to this special gathering 27 years after our groundbreaking. A festivity that's a little delayed because of the pandemic, but here we are. And a special welcome to our distinguished guests, including Mayor Elicker and President Salovey, members of the university administration, faculty and staff, students, other Slifka Center trustees, supporters, and many other friends. I recently was recalling our joyous original groundbreaking in 1993. With remarks by Yale humorist and writer Calvin Trillin, celebrating the establishment of the Slifka Center for Jewish Life at Yale. We were so thrilled because the Yale Jewish community finally had our own home with a kosher kitchen and a dining hall and areas to study, worship, sing, and just hang out. Over the years, the center became a home for members of this community, including, fortunately, our 4 children when they were Yaleys, and the broader Yale community. I want to acknowledge the central roles of Rabbi Jim Panett, former Jewish chaplain at Yale, and our founding director. Jim, I'll never forget when you called us out of the blue, asking us for money to create the center, and we thought that was a pretty good idea. And I also want to acknowledge the center's appreciation to former Yale presidents Schmidt, Lamar, and Levin, the late Dr. Donald Cohen, and the Slifka family, who were instrumental in getting the center off the ground. And you'll hear more in the program about the amazing growth of Slifka over the years and our plans for the future. So at this time, I also want to thank my fellow co-chairs, Elisa, Victoria Fetter, and Dick Pechter, for their hard work in getting us to this point, as well as Uri and Jason. And now I'll turn over the podium to Dick. Thank you so much.
I'll actually only be 2 minutes. I think I'm the oldest one here as I look around. I was a class of 67, and as Dan Oren, if you've read his book, will tell you, Jewish life at Yale in 1967 was very different than it is today. So I have grown over the years to recognize the extreme importance of having a vibrant resource for Jewish life here at Yale, and for the importance of what that can contribute to the Yale community. So I was pleased to chair our capital campaign, and I'm happy to say thank you to all of you who are here tonight. We raised a little under $6 million, which is really terrific. Doesn't quite pay for the building, but it's close. And more importantly, 500 plus people from all over the world contributed, from small amounts to large amounts, and I can't say thank you enough. My job now is to introduce Evan Farber, who is our chairman of the Slifka Center and has really been absolutely superb in helping us.
Thank you, Dick. The good news for most of you here is that I had a very long list of thank yous, but many of them have already been done. So I've made an executive decision not to repeat the thank yous, although if you were thanked already, you should know that I was planning to thank you as well. I do want to say that we thanked Dick and Robin Elise and Doris and Melanie, the chairs of the capital campaign and the construction committee. They didn't work alone. So if you should know that there were many other people who helped. And if you're here and you were on either of those committees, thank you very, very much. Also, if you were a donor, and I assume many people here and also many people who are watching by Zoom were donors, thank you very, very much. Every single one of you is an integral part of this community and was integral in building the building, so thank you. It really was a team effort, and we are really, really grateful for everyone who participated. When people ask why I care about the Slifka Center, why I'm involved in the Slifka Center, I usually tell them that I arrived at Yale in September of 1995, the same week that the Slifka Center originally opened. And it was a magical time to be a Jewish student at Yale. It was, the building was new, it was exciting, it was packed with students, both Jewish and non-Jewish. And it was really, really exciting time. When I see the group gathered here today, when I see the students here and the students who I know have been here over the past month or so, when I see the alumni, the donors, the professors, the community members, I am hopeful, I dare to dream that we are about to embark on another golden age of Jewish life at Yale. My charge now is to the students. Make that happen. Make that happen. This is your building now. Make it yours. Take it, run with it, build it with your dreams, your hopes, your laughter, your tears, and your accomplishments. We look forward to seeing all the amazing things that you do here. There were a few honored guests who did not get mentioned yet, so I will mention them. Jennifer Zwilling and Rebecca Simons from Hillel International. Irit Yachnis of the Israeli Consulate. Judy Alpern from the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven. Thank you each for being here, and more importantly, for your and your organization's constant support and partnership. We are also incredibly grateful for the constant support and partnership of Yale University. I know there are a number of Yale administrators here, and I'm sure I'm going to miss someone, so please forgive me in advance. But I do want to recognize Lloyd Suttle, Rafi Taharian of Yale Dining, Deans Pericles Lewis and Tamar Gendler, and of course, Professor Salovey. We are especially honored to have you, President Salovey, and we'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. But first, the moment that we've been waiting for 3 years. Everyone who has a scissors on your seat, please come up and join me in the ribbon cutting. Either side. Either side. Okay. Yeah, come on up. Come on up. It'll be better for the.
Let Jason stand in the middle. You have a scissor. Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. It looks like there's more room on this side, right?
Scoot down this way a little bit. You're gonna give us a count. Okay. We'll get one shot to get the.
So everyone look here, settle, and look here for big smile. There we go. Nice. And two more. And then I'll do a countdown. Nice. And on the count of three. On the three, we cut. 1, 2, 3.
Oh. That tape to it? Oh, I see. Okay. Got it? Okay. Good job, everyone.
Bring it up.
I knew I was going to miss someone, and I did. So Sharon Kugler, the University Chaplain, I don't see you. I'm told you're sitting in the back somewhere. There you are. You have been an invaluable partner to the Slifka Center and to the Yale Jewish community for so many years. We are incredibly grateful. Thank you really for everything you've done. You've been the model of a great neighbor and really a great partner in the university, so thank you. President Salovey, thank you as well for your stewardship of Yale's community, especially over the last 2 years, for your role as a participant in the Yale Jewish community. I know you were attending high holiday services here, and for the many forms of help that you have given us, both personally, you were a large donor to the Capital Campaign, and we appreciate it, and institutionally. We are very, very grateful, and I'd like to give you this token of our appreciation. It is a mezuzah. You've helped us reach our new home, and we'd like to give you something for your new home. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all. It's a little intimidating, all of Yale administrators, all the friends and family, all the students, our student leaders, Rabbanim. It's kind of amazing who's here tonight. I really want to thank Dick, Elisa, Rob, Victoria for the inspiration to all of us to pitch in. And of course, Uri and Rabbi Jason, your leadership has been fantastic, and thank you for getting us to this point. It's really great to be here for a milestone. Mayor, thank you for coming as well, my partner in crime here. And it's so nice to see all of you. And it's really a pleasure to celebrate during Sukkot. It really holds special meaning, I think, for all of us. You know, this milestone does resonate for Marta and for me. We've had so many meals in this space. We had meals in the space in the underground space on High Street that I know some of the other old timers who are here tonight remember. And to arrive at this modern facility, at the facility that can handle the volume of people who want to eat here, the kinds of events like this one, and to do that in a way that can provide kosher food for those who keep kosher and for anyone else who would like it, it's just fantastic. The Building Forward campaign has produced a home for Slifka that is worthy of its history, but also it's radiant of its future. And we celebrate that together. So Slifka Center has been here since 1995. I remember when it was built. Feels like it was just yesterday, but so does everything since the COVID, the time warp that COVID has created. What I've always loved is the pluralistic nature of this center, that it has convened Jewish students from all backgrounds of Judaism, as well, and with equal enthusiasm, non-Jewish students who want to participate with us from all backgrounds. I remember a Shabbat dinner that I was here for. I was a little late, it was packed. I found the one open seat, Marta and I, actually 2 open seats, we're both here. And we sat down, and it turned out nobody at our table was Jewish. But they were singing Shalom Aleichem. It was great, you know. It's like, I was pretty impressed, actually, to be honest. And when it quieted down, I turned to the fellow who was sitting next to me, a student, and I said something to the equivalent of, "Do you come here often?" And he said, "Yeah, we eat, this group eats Shabbos dinner here every Friday night." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, we had a roommate who was Jewish, and he introduced us to Shabbat dinner. And he's now studying abroad this semester, and we carry on the tradition without him." I said, "That's very nice." I said, why do you enjoy it so much?" And he turned to me and he said, "Well, the word is," and he said a word. And I said, what language was that in? He said, Mandarin. And I said, well, you know, how would you translate that? And he looked at me and he said, Hamish. So that was Shabbat dinner, and that was my introduction to the big tent that is Slifka Center. And it's great to see Slifka collaborating with La Casa and St. Thomas More and the Chaplain's office and the Office on LGBTQ Resources, and on I could name so many other parts of Yale. I think this attempt to cast a big tent, this room is a big tent, this building is a big tent, and of course, we build tents on Sukkot. And when I think about the structures that we build on Sukkot, I realized that there are all kinds of specifications about how to build a proper sukkah. And one of my COVID projects is I'm doing Daf Yomi in English online. But one of the pieces that I enjoyed reading was, can you build a round Sukkot? And the discussion is yes, you can. And it should sit 21 people around the edge, around the circumference, or 7 people across the diameter. And I'm realizing that the rabbis are deriving pi for us right there in the Talmud. Anyway, what's interesting is a sukkah can be as large as you want it to be. It can accommodate an entire community. In our case, it can accommodate visitors with many backgrounds, beliefs, identities, a whole campus community. And so we appreciate that value. But we can see that Sukkot really provides a holiday that celebrates the ethos of the Slifka Center as a whole. And the people were referring to the way in which this community has grown. The estimate is that 70% of Jewish undergraduates were served by the Slifka Center in the year before COVID. 2,000 non-Jewish students attended public offerings at the Slifka Center in the year before COVID. And then during the pandemic, the Slifka Center was incredibly diligent in trying to provide support and services despite the incredible disruptions and the risk of illness. And now we're back on any given Friday night. Indeed, on every Friday night, we see students from across the spectrum, from across this community, sharing Shabbat dinner, sharing each other's perspectives, engaging in one of the great traditions of Shabbat, even though we're supposed to rest, even though we're supposed to be reflective. We can also argue and debate, and we do that too. You know, I think the Slifka Center is a great center, a great locus of inspiration for students and faculty and staff to learn how to lead lives of meaningfulness, of leadership, of service. I gave one of my addresses on Tikkun Olam. I think you learned Tikkun Olam here at the Slifka Center. I think we learned here at the Slifka Center that while there may be many labels that distinguish us, they don't threaten to divide us. I think the Slifka Center has brought Jewish students in closer relationship to their Jewish identity, but it has also brought those who comprise the broader campus community closer together at the same time. So again, I want to thank everyone who participated in building, in rebuilding, the first time around, this time around. I want to thank the generations of student leaders, the rabbis who have served this community, and the Hillel National Organization, and especially I want to thank those, our student leaders who have created the atmosphere of this place that they share with their classmates and make Hillel one of the most welcoming centers, welcoming places on this community. So congratulations to all who are involved in getting us to this day. Chag Sameach, and my best wishes for many, many Sukkots to come. Thank you all very much.
We want to thank you so much, President Salovey, for your words, and your relationship with our community is such a meaningful part of the way that we're all able to interact as Yale students. So thank you so much for that. Now to hear from some Yale students, we have the pleasure of listening to Magevet, which is the Yale's co-ed a cappella group that features Jewish and Israeli music, which was founded in 1993, just at the idea of Slifka's conceptualization. So we welcome Magevet to sing some songs for us. So welcome them.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I got it. We're going to sing three songs for you tonight. The first of which is our arrangement of Salovey. Mine, yours,
Thank you so much to Magevet for your beautiful singing. They are the highlight of any event that they're at. The mayor and President Salovey, you were great too. And we are so excited to have each of our guests with us tonight, thinking particularly about renewing community by making the perfect match between institutions, buildings, and the leaders at their helm. I am very privileged and excited to introduce Dean Pericles Lewis in his new role of Dean of Yale College. Is the sound okay? That's okay. Okay. But not new to Yale, Dean Lewis first joined the Yale faculty in 1998 and was later named the Douglas Tracy Smith Professor of Comparative Literature and Professor of English at Yale. From 2012 to 2017, Dean Lewis served as founding president of Yale NUS College in Singapore. Dean Lewis is also a Yale spouse and Yale parent. Please, Dean Lewis.
Thank you very much, Mayan. Thank you, everybody. I was saying to my partner that it's a little challenging to follow President Salovey. He's always so inspiring on these events. So I hope you'll forgive a couple of personal remarks. First, I'd like to say good evening to everybody and that I'm very grateful to you for inviting me to join you on this important occasion. I'm really honored to be here. And it's good to see so many friends. I'm grateful for President Salovey's remarks, and I'm not going to offer any learned commentary of my own on the meaning of the Sukkah. My studies are a little behind his, but I will say that President Salovey's great Jewish learning and his familial connection to the rabbinical tradition are a big part of his outstanding leadership of the university, for which I thank him. And then on thoughts of my own connection to the Jewish community, I'll say that my father grew up in a Jewish family in a poor Jewish neighborhood of Toronto near Bathurst Street, not far from an uncle of President Salovey, so we share that as well. And while my father had his bar mitzvah and identified as Jewish, as we say nowadays, and was involved in Hillel at college, he did marry my mother, who is Gentile. And I grew up a little further uptown, not far from Bathurst Street, still closely connected to the Jewish community and, of course, to my Jewish family. In fact, I enjoyed the kosher chicken sauté, which really reminded me of what my bubby used to cook on Friday nights. But I was also raised without religion, and I made only occasional appearances at temple or church. Here at Yale, I've been honored to participate in many activities of the Jewish community, including the Slifka Center, and I'm especially pleased to see Rabbi Jim Ponet, who's welcomed me at events in the past, and of course to countless bar mitzvahs of my son's friends when he was 13. I think my own personal identity reflects the mixed experience that so many people today have, and so I'm delighted that Slifka serves the entire community, including those who may be Jewish, not Jewish, or somewhere in between. So Slifka, for over 2.5 decades, has been a physical home for our entire community, and we're so delighted to see it revived now under the leadership of Rabbi Jason Rubenstein and Uri Cohen. Thank you for having me. For faculty, for staff, for graduate students, and especially since I'm responsible for the undergraduates, for undergraduates, Slifka is an essential part of their lives at Yale. And it's especially rich, an especially rich resource for young people who arrive because it's their first time away from home, and for them, Slifka creates a community as well as the incredible meals and a home away from home. Renovations and the pandemic have, of course, disrupted life for all of us, and they've made us reimagine our physical, everyday interactions with one another. And even so, and despite the challenges of the building project that we've heard a little bit about, Slifka has been an anchor for undergraduates through its programming, its mentorship, its social justice initiatives, and its service. It wasn't that long ago that our first year students and sophomores could only be on campus for one semester because of the pandemic. And Slifka helped students to stay connected to campus during that challenging time. Undergraduates know that Slifka is a central point of connection to campus life, whether or not they identify with the Jewish community. And that's because they know that Slifka is open to everyone at Yale, as Peter's story makes clear, and that it's so closely connected with other organizations that promote a sense of belonging on campus, and through the chaplain's office to the broader community of faith. Undergraduates, through their own efforts as members of one or more of these organizations, these communities, welcome everyone at Yale and therefore recognize that they're all welcome here. Now that Slifka's fabulous renovations are done, it can reopen its doors, and it can again provide a physical home for teaching and learning, for leadership and service, for worship and faith, and for meals and friendship. And on behalf of Yale's undergraduate community, I'm so excited to mark this historic reopening with you, and I wish you the best in beginning this new chapter. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Dean Lewis, for being here. It's now my pleasure to introduce Jennifer Zwilling, who is the Chief Strategy Officer for Hillel International. We are proud participants in the Hillel movement, and Jen and I have known each other for a long time, bringing this work to this campus and other campuses, and very few have been architects of what Hillel is today, more so than Jen Zwilling. So Jen, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Good evening. Wow, it's wonderful to be here tonight. I visit a lot of campuses, and you get a flavor for what it feels like on every campus. Everyone's a little different. I feel like I'm at a giant Yale reunion. And it is incredible. The generations of people who are here tonight who care about Slifka, who care about this institution, is really inspiring to see. And even just to hear Magevet, not just be here in the students and what you see alive tonight, but to know how many generations of Magevet come before them. It is truly inspiring. On behalf of the Hillel International, I really want to share just deep appreciation to the many people, everyone in this room and so many and beyond, who have really helped Slifka Center flourish and to arrive at this important moment. Thank you. We don't take a flourishing Hillel for granted. And in particular, right, there's everyone who's around it. Hillel does not live by itself. You live in the context of the university. President Salovey, Dean Lewis, and the leaders of the university are here tonight. Thank you for your partnership. Right, Judy Alper and the federations are vital partners to Hillels throughout the community. Mayor Elicker, I don't know how many times we see the mayor come to be part of a celebration for Hillel, and we're glad you're here tonight. And I want to just give a special recognition to Rabbi Jim Ponet. It's great to see you here celebrating this accomplishment and just a milestone. This is a place that you helped to build. You are a Gedolim of the Hillel movement, and you're a giant whose legacy lives well beyond your storied tenure with Hillel. So it's great to see you here, and thank you. Just as Yale University is known for its, wait, Ori, hold on. I wanted to say, I like moved ahead in my remarks, but Jason, in some ways you said it best tonight. Ori, I think every conversation we've had over the past several years has been about the blood, sweat, and tears of arriving and getting to this moment. It has not been an easy few years. The pandemic has not made it easier. Bringing this project to fruition, really amidst everything we've had, is no small feat, and just it's inspiring to see your leadership here. The Hillel movement, Yale is known for its intellectual leadership, right? Known across the world. And the Slifka Center at Yale over the years has been a shining model of excellence for the Hillel movement. And Ori and Rabbi Jason what Yale is here and what it means for the Hillel movement is a credit to you and to your leadership, thought leadership, intellectual leadership, and deep commitment to Hillel as a movement. I just wish for this space, for the halls of it to be filled with Torah, to be filled with laughter and friendship and the ideas and deeds that that Hillel is meant to be, and that Slifka is meant to be, and that it continues to always enrich the lives of students and Jewish students so that we can enrich the Jewish people in the world for years to come. So may you go from strength to strength. Mazal Tov, and thank you.
We're nearing the end of the program, and I want to begin the end with an invitation to all you all. As people said here, when people make friends here, we're playing for keeps. We know that that doesn't end when you graduate and extends for a long time, and the diversity across age and across location and where people we're coming from tonight speaks very eloquently to that. And so I want to invite you all. I know and love many of you in the room. My parents are here, my wife is here, my kids are here, and many of you I don't know, and I yearn to meet you. And so I want to invite you to introduce yourselves to one another, to me and to Ori and our whole team here, because we care about you even if we don't know you yet. We want to get to know you. Secondly, amazing colleagues. I'm not going to thank everyone, but I do want to thank a group of people who have worked so hard to make tonight possible and what it is. Lynn Jackson Quinn, Melinda Papowitz, Hillel Rosenzweig, Margarita Nieves, and Dave, our chef, have done yeoman's work for weeks, months, years leading up to tonight. I can't thank you all enough. I want to give them a huge round of applause just on behalf of all of us. And I'm delighted to introduce a mentor of mine, which is not a word I use lightly. Rabbi Angela Buchdahl is an alumna of this college, is a parent, and often through collaboration and always through example, is really set the standard of what's possible in rabbinic work, in Jewish community, for an entire generation of rabbis. And if you have any questions about what the potential of Yale looks like, leadership, of charisma, of brilliance, of grit, of integrity and kindness, and what that can look like in the way that it shapes a field, it shapes communities, it shapes how young people come up into a profession and then go out to shape hundreds of thousands of lives, you need look no further than Rabbi Buchdahl. Angela, come on up.
The unenviable job of ending this beautiful night standing between dessert, but I am a proud alum from '94. I'm having this wonderful deja vu being here for a ribbon cutting of Slifka, because I was here for the ribbon cutting in '95 with Rabbi Jim Panett, which was kicked off with, I think, a symphony of 6 shofarot. It was a joyful cacophony. It was not in tune. And I kind of feel like it was, this is sort of that same feel of a joyful cacophony of us being here together. I really stand here as a rabbi because of Jewish life at Yale. You have to know that I was a kid from Tacoma, Washington, where there were 3 Jews in my high school, and my sister and I were 2 of the 3. And I got to Yale and I couldn't believe that there were so many Jews. I think I might have been in the early 90s, like a high water mark of like Jews at Yale. And it was, it wasn't just that there were so many Jews, it was the way that the culture was so pervasive in the school in this most beautiful, natural, organic way. I was in an a cappella group and we had this shtick we did, which was like each of us making, kind of an imitation of an old Jew talking about a cheese, and the shtick was called Jews for Cheeses at the end. That was the shtick. But I couldn't believe, first of all, that everybody understood. They understood and recognized all my Jewish grandmas and grandpas that were at my synagogue. But everybody was getting the joke. I couldn't believe they called it shtick. Knew what that was. So I thought and then I was learning from this charismatic rabbi, Jim Panett, and his wife Alana, who opened their home and hearts to us. I learned with the terrific brilliant Dr. Paula Hyman of blessed memory, who became my thesis advisor and taught me what it was to actually understand and open up a world of Jewish life from a feminist perspective, which had been completely closed off to me before. I got to study with Rabbi Sharon Cohen-Anisfeld, who modeled a kind of charisma as a female rabbi that was not the kind of big from the top, but a collaborative charisma that became the model for who I would become as a rabbi. And the two of them really made me a Jewish feminist. So I think about what Jewish nirvana I landed in, and the kind of self-confidence and pride and Jewish dignity that instilled in me to be a Jew, coming from a place where I really didn't even fully understand what that meant. Fast forward about 20 years, and my son enrolled and was a freshman, and I got to meet Rabbi Jason and Ori, and I couldn't be more thrilled with them taking over the leadership. And they said, we have this incredible place, we have an incredible community, but we have some building to do. And I saw the vision they had, a vision that if we build it, they will come. And they didn't just mean the building, but that was a piece of it. And I said, I want to help, because I was invested not just because of having a child here, but because I knew that this was really, really important for Jewish students at Yale. And I knew it was really important for Yale to have a very vibrant Jewish community. And so it's been just such a privilege to be able to be a small part of watching what you have built. And then what a miracle it is to now have, I have two sons here. And I will say that once the building got built, the first Shabbat, they literally came back and said, Shabbat dinner was electric. All right, you don't hear that very often. Electric. Okay, and now they're coming for a study session every Wednesday night with Rabbi Jason, and they're like, this is the best thing ever. And I can't even, that's priceless. I mean, well, I can't even say how awesome that is. And they're learning about everything. And this class holds students from an amazing, like, adopted son of mine who did 2 gap years in Israel, to students who have literally done no Jewish learning before at all. So, and then the whole breadth of that is in this group. And I just think that's a model of the kind of Jewish life that they want. So there's a lot of talk, and I worry about this. It keeps me up at night a lot as a rabbi, about the fact that there's just a lot of growing anti-Semitism, that a recent Brandeis Center survey said that 50% of Jews on college campuses hide their Jewish identity. That is just such a staggering number. I can't even think about it. And so much of the response has been, let's fight anti-Semitism, and thinking about investing and trying to teach people who hate us to not hate us. I would say that's the strategy I'd like for us to see, is invest in our Jews, invest in giving them the confidence and self-dignity that Yale gave us and so many of us in the room. So that's what this is about. It's about investing in Jews who stand proud and know who they are, who want to invite their non-Jewish friends to come to Shabbat dinner here, who want to introduce them to the ideas that Judaism brought to the world and want to share it. That's what this is about. And so this is what we've built. I feel so grateful to be here for the second reopening and ribbon cutting of Slifka. God willing, I'll make it for another one when we're ready to rebuild in 25 more years. But could we end together and rise together in offering a blessing of thanksgiving and gratitude? I would love to have Ori and Jason come up, President Salovey, Rabbi Jim Panett, please come up. And I think also our chairs, I think, that need to come up. It would be really so wonderful. These words are probably familiar to you, but in case they're not, we're going to offer blessing to God, Shehechianu, for giving us life, V'kiyamanu, for sustaining us and sustaining us and giving us sustenance in this, V'higianu lazman hazeh, that you have enabled us to arrive at this moment. So if we can join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Just amen. 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 And Mazel Tov. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for coming. There's dessert There's some more food upstairs. Enjoy the evening.
Tours? And if you'd like a tour of the building, you can gather up in the lobby and you can see all the space. It's amazing.